Got off in Lagos Friday between the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijane, and CEOs of listed companies in the tech sector. Market operators acknowledged the event was key and novel, helping to reposition technology in Nigeria.
Our goal is to encourage more businesses to become listed companies, more technology businesses to become listed companies. But for us to be able to do that, we must learn from those who have been listed. We would like to know more of their challenges, the opportunities they've seen, but also how can government support them to continue to thrive in our economy as well.
Identifying technology as a business and national security instrument, governments, citizens and investors were told to pay attention to technology services and innovations.
This is the first time we'll be given such an opportunity as listed companies to come and discuss with the government on what our issues are, what is stalling our scaling, because our dream is to become global companies and compete with other companies globally. And what he's come to do is to listen to us and find out how the government can support that initiative.
We talked about the issues of limiting issues of regulation. We talked about the issue of national security, how we must start looking at the public companies, because they are Nigerian companies and they are Nigerian-owned, in respect of the kind of representation we should be getting within the international fora.
To unlock Nigeria's tech sector, government is being asked to create buffer funds for development.
Without the government, is so much you can do. We need the government to do the heavy lifting. And it's not just peculiar to Nigeria, in China, in Russia, in South Korea, even in US, without the government doing the heavy lifting, without the policies coming out of government sectors, it's going to be tough for any business to survive.
Market stakeholders believe this roundtable should produce a working document that brings government and tech businessmen to a straight road for national development. Efyong Ekop, TVC News, Lagos.
Meanwhile, the special advisor to the President on Economic Affairs, Office of the Vice President, Mr. Tope Fashoa, earlier today on our business program, said the reduction in food prices is gradually heading towards President Bola Tinubu's 15% inflation rate target. He made this known while reacting to the recent GDP figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics.
Even though we're in the Ramadan season, we've been seeing across the board a reduction in the price of food. I go out myself to do some of my own personal surveys directly in the market, and I can tell you that the price of things like beans is going down, has crashed significantly, tomatoes and what have you. Even rice now is beginning to get the effect, perhaps the effect of the importation that was done. There was, concessionary importation that was done recently. So surprisingly, people are wondering, look, in the Ramadan season, sometimes food price will increase, but now we're seeing a consistent reduction in the price of food. So if the price of food will reduce, that means it will have a positive effect on inflation, with inflation coming down below the 24.8% that has been reported as per the rebased inflation. Of course, nobody is claiming that inflation suddenly fell by 10%. We're saying that we have recalibrated and we're starting afresh, using a new base year, starting afresh to say the real inflation that we have right now is 24.8%. So if inflation is likely to trend down, that means you should expect the monetary policy rate to also trend down, because monetary policy rate is meant to, be targeted at managing inflation.
Well, the stock market closed the weekend deals in positive territory as many companies recovered from price drops. The trade index jumped by 0.14%, giving some firms chances to improve share values. The biggest trade gainers was Owando, with gains calculated at nearly 10%. Others that followed were Coverton Aviation, John Holt, PZ, and Deep Capital. The shares with declining prices included Restar Express, Len Africa, Multiverse, Cadbury, and Linkage Assurance. Well, equities across Asia today and the US dollar over nearly multi-weeks high against the currencies of the country's top trading partners. Japan's Nikkei tumbled 3.3% under the weight of stronger yen, while South Korea Kospi sank 3.2%. Taiwanese shares dropped 1.5% and Australian stock benchmark sagged 1.3%. Hong Kong Hang Seng slid 2.3%, although mainland blue chip declined by relatively small 0.8%. Pan-European stock 50 stock features pointed 1.2% lower after bourses around the region retreated. US S&P 500 features were down 0.2%, following a 1.6 tumble for the cash index overnight. World stocks are on track for their worst week since mid-December, slumping close to 2%. The European Union said it is ready to deploy a stronger trade weapon against the U.S. after President Donald Trump threatened to impose sweeping tariffs. The tit-tat dispute between Trump's comments, which were aimed at staunch U.S. ally and its main post-war economic partner, further deepened the transatlantic rift. That is already opened by Trump's warning that Washington would drop security guarantees for its European allies. Trump's broadside was a distillation of trade grievances he had heard on the campaign trail, and he has stepped up since taking office a month ago. He again complained that Europe didn't buy U.S. cars or foods and lamented Americans' huge transatlantic trade deficit, which he pegged at a vastly exaggerated $300 billion US. And finally, crude oil prices eased today as they headed for their first monthly drop since November, dragged lower by uncertainty over global economic growth and fuel demand given Washington's tariff threat. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude is down 1.08% to sell for $69.59 per barrel. Brent is down 0.90% to sell for $73.38 per barrel. Bonnie Light is also down 2.84% to sell for $78.62. And